We begin this evening in Osun State, where Governor Ademola Adeleke is demanding the release of more than 130 billion naira in local government funds he says has been unlawfully withheld by the federal government. He also condemns what he calls the illegal occupation of council secretariats by officials whose elections were struck down by the courts. The governor urges that this occupation has crippled governance in the grassroots. While the withheld funds meant for salaries and essential services have deepened hardship for teachers, health workers, retirees, and council staff. He insists the matter is not simply financial, but a test of constitutional order and respect for judicial processes. Now, the Supreme Court has already faulted the federal government's action, describing them as a grave breach of the Constitution. Yet, the crisis continues, raising questions about accountability, the rule of law, and the balance of power between state and federal authorities. Our conversation tonight, however, will explore what this standoff reveals about governance in the nation, the resilience of democratic institutions, and the impact on ordinary citizens who depend on local government services. Well, before we get into the crux of the conversation today, let's take a listen to what the governor did say on this.
Close to 1 year now, local government secretariats across Osun State have been under illegal occupation by the court-sacked APC chairmen and councillors, whose election was nullified by the Federal High Court, Osogbo, in November 2022 and affirmed by the Court of Appeal on the 10th of February 2025 again on 13 June 2025. The election was struck down because it was conducted on clear violation of the requirements of the law. I did not remove these APC chairmen and councillors from office. The court did. Since then, they have had no lawful mandate whatsoever. Yet, embracing content of the law and repudiation of democratic decency, they have refused to vacate the secretariats, emboldened by the backing of the Nigerian police, as alleged, instructed by former Governor Buiga Oyetola.
Well, joining the conversation right now is Ismail Omipidan, is a former chief press secretary to Governor Buiga Oyetola, and also the deputy editor and head of politics desk, the Sun newspaper. He joins from our Abuja studio. It's great to have you. I also have Good evening. I also have Honorable Kolapo Alimi, is the Honorable Commissioner for Information and Public Enlightenment, Osun State. It's also great to have you, sir.
Good evening. Thank you for having me.
All right. Let's start first with two pivotal issues here, which the governor did highlight in that sound on tape that we play back. Number one, the fact that the funds for local government, for local councils are still being withheld, and there's a demand that it be released, and that currently officials there and who are not supposed to be there should be made to go. I would like to start with you, Honorable Commissioner. Can you just give us first-hand view what exactly the situation is right now at the council level in Osun State?
Well, thank you for this opportunity. It is an open secret that immediately after his loss during the 2022 election, the former governor, now Minister of Marine and Blue Economy, Alimi quickly rushed to conduct election which for local government. And as at that time, all political parties kicked against it. And that was the reason why any other political party did not participate. All other political parties informed the governors at that time what he wanted to do that is not lawful, is against the Electoral Act. So he went ahead to conduct the election. Two political parties challenged the elections, and the election was annulled by the Federal High Court in two separate judgments. So they appealed the two judgments, they abandoned one, they got judgment on technical ground on one, and the other one later on, they tried to resuscitate it, but they failed. So that judgment still succeeds, which sent them packing. And so the state government discovered that despite the fact that they have no local standing to be in our council, they are being headed by the Attorney General of the Federation, who gave wrong interpretation to the judgment. The police, IG, the CP here, the police as a whole, and the Minister of Marine and Blue Economy. And so these shenanigans continue. And until the state has decided, let us go to Supreme Court. They are twisting the interpretation of the judgment. Let us go to Supreme Court for the interpretation. At the Supreme Court declined jurisdiction. 6-1. There was a minority judgment. However, at the Supreme Court, they swore to affidavit stating clearly that they were sworn in on October 2022 and that their tenure will come to an end by October 2025. Everybody thought that October 2025, all the shenanigans will have to become a thing of past. However, after October 2025, they still perpetrated themselves into this office. They are being headed again by the police. They are claiming that they have filed a tenure elongation suit. They call it tenure determination. This is very strange, and the case is highly frivolous. What do you mean by tenure determination? You stated on oath that your tenure has ended. So assuming without conceding that people have a tenure, having stated on oath that your tenure has ended, and the Attorney General of Federation that is even heading them stated in his advisory letter to the state and even before the Supreme Court that the tenure of this year's or no chairman will be coming to an end by October 2025. So what are you still doing? They now filed a case hiding under that case. That case now came up yesterday. Instead of them to be in court, all their lawyers were not in court. They wrote letter that they could not get chance. So they actually filed the case so as to continue their shenanigans. And it is quite unfortunate that even UBA, who happen to be a bank of reputable name, who has international outlook, is still collaborating with them by allowing them to open accounts that their private accounts are wherein the allocation to the local government of Osun State are being paid. And as we have finally stated, and the government have finally stated, attached to this allocation is the payment of retirees. So the government cannot just continue to look. The retirees the state are suffering. The salary of private school teacher is attached in this
Honorable Commissioner, I want to come back.
And so on and so forth.
I want to bring you back. You said that monies are being paid into private accounts of certain persons that are meant for these officials.
It is quite unfortunate that as it is today, they are hiding under the local government autonomy. And the money due to our local government of Osun State are being paid to private accounts in UBA. And these people are being headed by the Office of Accountant General and the CBN. This is what they are calling federal mind. We are only calling on well-meaning Nigerians to let the sanity prevail. Public fund is not something anybody can just play with. There are procedures for the payment of public fund, and there are procedures for spending it. So they are just getting those money and spending the money lavishly, whereas those that have entitlement in those money are suffering. So we will continue to talk and shout to the whole world that Alimi, because of his bitter politics, because he lost the election woefully in 2022, has become to traumatize this state. And we call on the president, because Alimi, the Minister of Marine and Blue Economy, has been the one dropping the name of the president to perpetrate all these evils. And so we are very sure that at the end of the day, sanity will prevail, and we know the president will intervene and call both the Attorney General of the Federation, the Accountant General of the Federation, the CBN Governor, the Secretary of Police, and the Minister of Marine and Blue Economy. Just because you lost, How can you now want to destroy our state? You performed woefully. The people voted you out. The people rejected you. And because of that one, what you are now doing is to traumatize the state. That is what is ongoing now. As it is now, almost 130 billion naira for Osun State is being paid to private accounts. And is being seated upon by illegal occupants who are yes or no, who have the people who have no basis, no legal authority whatsoever to be in our local government.
All right, thank you very much, Honorable Commissioner. We'll go on our first break. When we return, I'll be bringing in Ismail Omipidan. He is the former Chief Press Secretary to former Governor Oyetola, who is now, of course, a minister, and who many of these issues revolves around. We'll be taking his reaction. Stay with us, we'll be right back. You're still watching Politics HQ on News Central Television, and we're looking at matters arising in Osun State, particularly around council funds. We still have the Honorable Commissioner for Information, in Osun State with us as guest this evening. But I'll be calling right now, I'll bring it on. Ismail Omipidan is the former CPS, that's Chief Press Secretary to the former governor of the state, now minister, that's former Governor Oyetola, to react to some of the things that have been said. It's great to have you. Now, let me get straight to it. The Honorable Commissioner said that the former governor, to a very large extent, has refused to lay his hands off, permit me to use the word loosely, the control of governance in the state, such that he is using federal might to, quote and unquote, frustrate governance in Osun State. They said because he was a sore loser in the last elections at state level. What's your reaction, sir? You worked with him.
Let me start first by declaring that, yes, I was the spokesperson to His Excellency Ademola Oyetola from 2019 to 2022 as governor of Osun State, and subsequently from 2022 up until December 2024. As at this evening, I am no longer a spokesperson. However, because I was involved previously, I am conversant with some of the issues raised, so I will be speaking to them to the best of my ability. And anything I am saying here today, if you check very well, I may have said them in the past. Having said that, the first thing is that Oyetola is not a bad loser. I wish to place that on record. And I have also explained in detail in my book, Persona Non Grata, that as an individual, I do not believe that Oyetola lost the 2022 election. And whatever that happened in connivance with some persons around the former president, Muhammadu Buhari. What they are calling federal might today were effectively deployed against His Excellency Ademola Oyetola in 2022. Having said that, I want to say with all sense of modesty that whatever challenge the state government is having today with regards to governance at the local government level was created by the governor and the government himself, and I will explain how. An election was conducted. Even if there was anything wrong with that election, it is not for you to say, it is for the court to decide. Now, they will tell you that yes, a federal high court sacked the local government chairman. The federal high court pronounced its judgment on the 25th of November 2022. The governor came in on the 27th of November 2022. And on the day of his swearing in, he announced the sacking of those local government chairmen, notwithstanding that by virtue of Section 138, subsection 1 of the Electoral Act, which states clearly that even if a court of first instance decides to nullify an election, that the holder of that office is entitled to still continue to hold that office during the pendency of the matter until the final court decides. In the first instance, the Federal High Court is not the right place to decide the outcome of that litigation, but assuming without conceding that it assumed jurisdiction and decided the matter, is the Federal High Court the final court as far as that matter was concerned? There was an appeal court. And so rather than allow the process to run its full course, the governor invoked an executive order sacking the local government chairman, and they went home. But even at that, they went to the appeal court to appeal the judgment of the Federal High Court. Now, at the appeal court, the APC in their appeal sought for, I think, about 7 reliefs or so. If you Google, you can find them. Now, the reliefs were listed one after the other. And to the best of my knowledge, one of the reliefs was the reinstatement of the litigants back to their office. And in the decision of the court said this appeal is meritorious and is hereby allowed. But the PDP claimed that there was no clear declarative statement saying that they have been reinstated. And I asked that, how else do you interpret the pronouncement of the court? Reliefs were sought, and these reliefs were listed one after the other clearly. And one of them is that they be reinstated, and the court said this appeal is meritorious and is hereby allowed. Now, with that judgment, the APC approached the Attorney General and the IGP with a certified true copy. Don't forget that the IGP has a legal department. They all look at this judgment, they read through, and they were satisfied that what APC is claiming is in tandem with the decision of the court. And so they resume at their offices in the various local government. Now, all right, why that on? The government was planning to hold an election. And I am aware that the Attorney General and the IGP wrote the state government advising it against holding that election on the premise that there was no vacancy. So assuming without conceding that the tenure of those local governments expired in October, it therefore goes to say that the election conducted by the state government is a nullity, because as at the time the election was conducted, there was no vacancy in the local government. All right, I'd like to bring in the Honorable Commissioner to respond to some of the things you have said. You detailed, to the best of your knowledge, while you were still in government, some of the events that transpired, and you also tried to put some, will I call it, clarity to it. But Honorable Commissioner, he has said quite a lot of things. Would you like to react to some of the things he has said, particularly when it comes to the, what I call it, legal cross battles that we are seeing right now?
Well, thank you very much. Definitely I have to react. First and foremost, it is quite unfortunate that my brother will come on here and be telling the whole world that President Muhammadu Buhari, who happened to be the president under the APC, the president might to head a PDP governor in a state where one of the strong leaders of APC, Bababisi Akande, who hails from the same local government with at the same time with Omipidan, emanates, comes from, is quite unfortunate. That is a piece of a very bad loser, and that is one of the reasons why they are doing what they are doing. Omipidan participated in that election. He lost his local government. Did you lose your local government in Ila local government because of federal might? People rejected Oyetola because of bad policy. Oyetola refused to pay backlog of arrears of salary. He collected it, the amount of money people knows it, and he didn't do anything for the 4 years. He was making excuses because of the COVID-19, and so on and so forth. People rejected him, and that's one of the reasons why he could not signify again to come back. And look at what happened in Ekiti. I say, after losing, he came back. Look at former Governor Bayemi. After losing, he came back. Oyetola dare not, because he know his loss will be so woeful. So I want you to stop all this shenanigans. You can write whatever you like in your book. That's for that one. My brother also talked about Section 137, that after the federal government judgment, they're supposed to be retained in the office. That is not true. You are not a lawyer. Section 137 is only applicable to cases who have tenure, and it is a cases that you have to conclude within certain period, like the case emanated from election petition matters. Like in election petition matters, you have to conclude the petition in the first in the tribunal within 6 months, and that is how we say, assuming somebody now lost as at that time, you go to appeal, you have to conclude the case within 2 months, and when you go to Supreme Court, you conclude the case within another 2 months, everything 10 months. Not like ordinary matter, who could drag. In ordinary matter, you have to go and apply for stay of execution of that judgment. The APC applied for this stay of execution, and the court refused them. So Section 137 is inapplicable, and Governor Adeleke happened not to be the one that sent them packing. They were sent packing based on the judgment of the Federal High Court. He also said that the AGF interpreted the judgment. Yes, AGF only interpreted one judgment. And when we discovered this, we sent to the AGF other judgment. I want to remind Mr. Omipidan that there are 2 separate Federal High Court judgments. One by the PDP and another one by the APP. The APP appealed the 2 judgments. You appeal the PDP judgment and you appeal the APP judgment. When they got to Court of Appeal, they abandoned the APP judgment. So the court eventually struck it out, and they pursued the PDP judgment, and they got judgment on technical ground. And eventually, we wrote to the AG. AG refused AGF, Attorney General of the Federation, they refused to look at the other one. And eventually, the APC went back to the court, and the court delivered judgment on June 13. I want to refer the whole world to the opinion of the NBA. When this imbroglio continues, the NBA called for all the judgments. The 2 Federal Court judgments, the State High Court judgments, and the 3 Court of Appeal judgments, and the Nigerian Bar Association. That is the umbrella of all lawyers in Nigeria, all over the country. To which Prince Ademola, the senior advocate of Nigeria, is also a party. So the NBA, in their reports, go and check it. The pages 6 and 7. The report is in national newspapers, and I can send the report to you, Anchor. Go and check pages 6 and 7, whereby after reviewing all the judgment, they came up with that the chairman elected by APC under the leadership of Ademola on October 15, 2022, their election has been annulled, and they have no business in our local government again. And let me equally tell you, when we got to Supreme Court, we applied to Supreme Court, our Attorney General in Osun State, when they were still twisting this judgment, our Attorney General in Osun State applied to Supreme Court for the interpretation of the judgment, instead of the Attorney General of the Federation, who is so biased. Just wait, just because it's a member of APC, instead of allowing this case to be interpreted, they didn't allow it, and so the judgment was actually annulled based on the opposition from the AGF, instead of allowing the court to interpret. But one of the justices of the Supreme Court, in person of Justice Ajib, actually interpreted it, and they gave it in favor of the PDP. So everything that has been said by my brother is just mere trash. I can attest to that.
All right. Of course, I'll be coming back to take Mr. Omipidan's reaction to these issues. Stay with us. We'll be right back. You're still watching Politics HQ on News Central Television, and we are discussing, of course, governance in Osun State, particularly at the council level, where the Osun State government is demanding the release of council funds, amongst a plethora of other issues. Well, before, of course, we wrap up this first half of the program, I'd like to take your reaction, Mr. Omipidan, to some of the things that the Honorable Commissioner said, part of which is that the former governor, Minister Oyetola, didn't lose the election because there was manipulation, but as a result of the choice of the people. He even said that in your constituency, you lost out. Please react.
Yeah, thank you very much. You see, let me start first by saying that contrary to Honorable Kolapo Alimi's claim, he is the one that is a bad loser. It's only anger with Oyetola. It's simply because Oyetola refused to appoint him Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice of the state. Now, he was talking about the fact that only election tribunal is allowed to run its course. I may not be a lawyer, but I am well educated and I am well grounded in the reportage of judicial proceedings. The same Kolapo Alimi, he was a commissioner under Ralph Ademola. His Excellency Ralph Ademola, when he came into office in 2010, almost similar situation that the current governor inherited was what Ademola inherited. Ademola never sacked the council chairman. Honorable Bamidele Salam, who is a member of Federal House of Reps today, he was a beneficiary of that situation. The election was being challenged before Ademola became governor. And even when Ademola became governor, he allowed the matter to run its full course until when the matter was decided by the Supreme Court. And the question I'm asking is that why was the governor in a hurry? Why didn't the governor allow the matter to run its full course? That is one. Two, I will not come on national television to lie. They have sent you all sorts of documents. They should also be honorable enough to send you the inaugural speech of the governor. It was clearly written. It was the governor who announced the sacking of the council chairman.
All right. Because we are really trying to manage time.
Let me also add that with what I know, I am not sure the federal government is withholding any fund. Those who are legally occupying the councils are in custody of the funds. Look, it's about strategy. If I were the governor, I would have allowed those council chairmen that were elected and find a way of cutting them. I am sure some of them would have even defected to his party.
All right. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
They just rely on shouting every now and then.
All right. We really need to, of course, wrap this first half up. Honorable Commissioner, 30 seconds, please. Would you like to say anything? 30 seconds.
Yeah, I doubt whether you give me at least like 2 minutes. Let me quickly inform Mr. Omipidan that because you are not a lawyer, you may not know the purport of Section 137. But your blackmail about my inability of Oyetola appointing me has become a thing of past. And today I'm a commissioner. Thank God I am not part and parcel of that state government. People know Oyetola failed, and you yourself, you know. And that was the reason it sacked you too. So don't let us go into personality and go to that issue. But as for Adeleke did not sack these people. We have explained this and this thing. And you say the money is in the custody. If you have public funds to which the salaries will be paid, your people, are they paying salary? The pensioners, are they being paid? Do you think public fund is just for you people to continue to spend? There are a procedure for spending of public fund, and that procedure must be followed. And if today you are confirming on national TV that your people that are collecting the allocation of local government that are not paying the statutory dues, they are just spending money for their own, the Osun State can attest to the fact that no project is going on at our local government. Then it means that you people should be ready to face criminal charges at any time. But what you want the whole world to know is this: as people without concern, that these people now have any tenure. Their proposed tenure has ended.
All right.
And they now file a case. Wait, they filed a case at the federal court. They abandoned the case. Yesterday, the case came up. They didn't come. They are just doing briganding. Even if you have a tenure, that means your tenure must have a stopping. Their tenure has ended. That their purported tenure has ended in October. And they cannot continue to be in our local government. Only the state to ransom. That is just it.
All right, gentlemen, I'd like to say a big thank you for your time on the program. It's been a pleasure having you on the program this evening. Mr. Ismail Omipidan, former Chief Press Secretary to Governor Oyetola, and also Honorable Kolapo Alimi, the Honorable Commissioner for Information on Osun State.
I only left to go back to my first love, which is journalism. You can construct your facts.
All right. Thank you once again, gentlemen, for your time.